Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. My name is Randy Cunin, and I am your local neighborhood Irvine, California realtor. I am excited today to talk to you about something that's probably on your mind, and that is for whether you are a seller or whether you are a buyer, is what's going on in the real estate market. And more importantly, do I need to worry about it crashing? Well, I have some news for you. I recently attended a summit with a lot of real estate agents and some great guest speakers, and this was one of the hot topics that we discussed. Now, key factors that control the real estate market include, number one, inventory. Also, other factors include construction of new homes, the foreclosures, obviously high mortgage rates, and as you all probably know, higher prices. Now, let's take a look at some of the charts that were shared, starting with the mortgage rates. As you can see in this chart, mortgage rates have been hovering around 5.25%. Now, this is significantly higher than at the start of the year, and doesn't look like anytime soon that we'll be going back to those lower percentages. So what can we expect? Well, Freddie Mac yesterday had some forecasts that said as early as Q1 or the beginning of 2023, we could possibly see a reduction in rates to 4.5%. However, in Q2, Q3, middle of next year, you might see that number creep up. But then by Q4, end of next year, probably see the rates come back down and stay around 4.5%. Now, these are only forecasts, so it's not an exact science, but we do have people that do this and study this on a daily basis. So we feel pretty good that those numbers are somewhat accurate. Now, where are we on appreciation? Well, if you were lucky enough to have a house and still have it, you've probably made a lot of money in the last year. As a matter of fact, it's not uncommon that houses increased in their price value over 20%. Now, what's going on recently? You've heard of your neighbors that were making record prices in early spring. Well, now we're starting to see a little bit of a drawback. So as much as 2% or more in those prices coming back, especially as we compare it year over year. Now, where do we expect the home prices to go, most importantly, through the out of 2022? Right now, we're probably floating at around 16% year over year. But when you look at what the other forecasts kind of predict, probably looks like we're going to see some more price dropping going on, probably through the end of December. So what does that mean for you? Well, if you're a buyer, that might mean an opportunity. If you're a seller, it might mean that you want to hold on, or might mean that if you're going to be exchanging a property by selling but buying another property, that the exchange might not have a significant impact on you. What about inventory? We know it's a supply and demand industry, and unfortunately, our industry is really suffering with the amount of houses available. Lots of people would like to trade up from an apartment or into a first home, but right now, when you compare it to, like, for example, 2019, we're seeing as much as a 43% drop in inventory. That is significant. So what about other factors such as construction? Do you have any kids? Are you worried where will they live? Are they building new houses in America? Well, the good news is it's climbing back up. But for the last few years, going back to 2010, it's been at some all-time lows. So it's good to see that we're starting to get that number back up. But overall, it's still relatively slow. Foreclosures, you ask, is this going to be anything like 2008, Randy? No, not even close. Why? Well, because mortgages are a lot different. As we know, lenders were very generous, giving out loans and houses to pretty much anybody. And now there's a lot more responsibility on the lender's action as well as customers, ensuring that they're able to afford and that they're continuing to pay their mortgages. And you're not seeing people take out as much equity on their houses, going on fancy vacations or buying fancy cars. So that trend has really slowed. It's become a responsible society, which is really something that we need. Lastly, how do we expect home prices to go into the future? Well, I wish I had a crystal ball, but I can share this chart, which basically says as we look to the end of the year, we might see a correction in prices. I remember in the beginning said as much as 20% increase. There's a good chance that this number is going to come down to perhaps as low as 9–10%. How do we expect this to go into the future? Well, the good news is once prices stabilize, you're going to see them go creep back up, probably at a rate of around 4% by the end of next year. And then we're going to see a trend of around 3 to 4% through the year 2026. Now, what does this mean in a real life example? Well, let's think about this. If we had a house that started out this year at a value of 1.7 million, perhaps in the boom, when this was listed and the high sales price, maybe it was listed at $2 million, and maybe because of multiple offers, they got as much as 2.1 or 2,050,000. What does that house probably look like today? Well, if we just figure 10%, that 1.7 million house is probably now worth about 1.87. So probably going to see some drop into that house over the course of the next year. Now, the good news is eventually that will get back up, and by the end of 2024, if you hold on to it, you'll be able to get those top prices that you saw your neighbors got 6 months ago or 3 months ago, depending on where you live. So good news on the horizon, opportunity now for buyers, sellers if you're looking to sell but also buy another house, good opportunity for you as well. My name is Randy Cunin. Again, I am from Irvine, California. I'm excited to have some more real estate chat with you on any of your needs, anything that I can answer. Just feel free to give me a call. You've got my contact information in the bottom left corner of the screen. Thanks so much for your time, and have a great day and rest of the year.